if you're ruining things. We all kind of expect this from Glee, but...
Well, no, I actually don't, because with Glee, I will say I was a little frustrated because, Glee is, from almost the beginning of the series, Glee's been inconsistent in terms of, and that's the one consistency, that you never really know what to expect. Sometimes it's super serious, sometimes it's super light, sometimes it's trying to mix both of them together. And, I know a lot of people had problems with the shooting episode, and I'm not going to disagree with that, and I think there are things that could have definitely been handled better there. But I was actually really bothered by the Glee Club's reaction to Ryder's molestation. And that's, look, I get that they tried to make it better by having him talk with Kitty and Kitty opening up about her past. But you had, and Mr. Shu kind of tried to calm things down, but it's like, you had 2 members of the Glee Club, like, high-fiving about someone being abused. And there wasn't any moment for these 2 men, later in the episode to be like, you're right, did not realize this was such a serious issue. They just basically left that hanging thread there, that these guys think it's totally okay to be sexually abused by someone who's older because it is a sexual contact when you're a young kid. That's not okay to me. I watched that, and I try not to tweet in the middle of episodes unless I've already seen screeners, because I feel like when you do, you either get spoiled or,
Well, you also don't know what's coming.
You also speak out of turn.
Yeah.
But that actually bothered me enough to tweet in the middle of the episode to be like, this is not okay. It was super awkward the way they handled it. It just felt like they were trying to kind of shove an after-school special lesson in there. And they had a public service announcement at the end.
Did they? Oh.
But it just felt so uneven with the rest of the tone of the episode that it was just like, I awkwardly started laughing because I was so uncomfortable with all of it.
Well, it's interesting that you said that they had the PSA at the end of the episode, because I feel like if they had had a moment where Ryder or Mr. Shu or Kitty or whoever sat down the guys that were like high-fiving, I feel like that would have been too preachy, and I feel like we would have been complaining, but for a different reason. Because there are some people, like, as terrible as it is, there are some people that believe that that is cool if you're a guy and it's an older girl and whatever, and you may never change their mind.
Right.
And maybe the show had a responsibility to try, or to at least say to the audience, hey, it's actually not okay. But I feel like if it was just if it's not the main thing in the episode, if it's just like a little character part of it, to do too much also works against it.
No, and I don't disagree with that, but it's just like they've made so much of everything. It's like, we still don't know who's catfishing Ryder.
Well, maybe it's going to come back.
Well, no, he's still talking to this person. Like,
no, I meant maybe that they will do something where he sits down with those. I'm saying maybe they're inconsistent. Sorry. The story can come in and come out, and the finale writer could sit down and be like, you guys, I'm still not okay. Before we go on stage, I'm not okay, you guys. We need to work this out.
It bothered me a lot. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it wasn't like there was, for instance, any reason why it needed to be brought up. And I'm not saying that if this was the character's truth that it shouldn't have been addressed, but he brought it up basically as a way of saying, I told this to this catfish person, whoever it is, so I don't want them being one to reveal it. It's like, you could have had any secret. You didn't have to have something that was actually.
But you know what? It's interesting, because if that's your secret and that's the reason you're telling it, because you want to take the power away from the person you told it to, like you want the power of saying that it happened versus being found out, then he should have set them down. Right. Or not set them down, but you know what I mean? Like he should have said to the guys, I'm not okay with you laughing about this or high-fiving. Right. Then it almost, I didn't know that aspect of the story, but then it makes it worse, in my opinion. Yeah, it was because you don't have the power anymore if you're letting them, if you're still uncomfortable about it and you're letting them treat it that way.
I mean, and it's just a really odd, it was just a really weird card for them to play randomly, and it just felt like it was it felt just disrespectful, and it bothered me. Glee does questionable things all the time, but that was like, really, guys? Who knows how many kids have been molested who are watching this and are now seeing characters they love, and you can't have everything perfect. We see this with the violence where you can't censor everything so no one is offended, but it's like you're having 2 heroes in theory, because it's not like they're the Sue Sylvester who's gonna make fun of everyone. You have 2 Glee Club kids who are basically saying, yay, you should be happy you got abused. So it's like, I don't know, it felt really, really just wrong for Glee to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
was a big downer.